Hello and welcome to season 4 of Queer Talks. I am Namgay Zam. Queer Talks is brought to you by the Canada Embassy in Bhutan. Today, joining me on the conversation is somebody who's very popular in the queer community here in Bhutan, although he won't admit that he is so. I am going to be talking to Tandin, who is based in the US. He identifies as gay. He is actually the first Bhutanese massage therapist. He's currently based in Florida and now works in the healing and wellness sector as a Reiki and pranic healer. I'm so glad that we're having this conversation today, Tandon.
Thank you so much, Namgay. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure always talking to you.
I'm so glad because I heard about you. I've seen posts about you on social media, and to finally talk to you, I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity. It's a fangirl moment.
It's the other way around.
So you are among the first Bhutanese to come out as being queer, actually, and definitely among the first Bhutanese to get legally married. What has that experience been like for you?
I've never thought about it as being the first gay man to get married, only because in the US, it's been legalized everywhere more. But it does give me validation as a human being, to have a legal paperwork to say that I'm officially married. Versus if I was in Bhutan, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I could have been. I've been in a lot of relationship over my last 41 years, no, even with Bhutanese. But we've never gotten that legal recognition. So sometimes getting a legal recognition does help you with your, you know, just helps you basically. Makes you feel more human, makes you feel more like a part of society. So in that sense, it's been good, but I haven't really thought about it as being the first or something like that. Yeah,
Now I'm telling you
just giving
that
validation.
that you're the
Huh.
first.
It
Everybody's
just
like,
validates
wow,
my
yeah, we
yeah.
have a Bhutanese who is gay and legally married and recognized as such. Thanks for sharing that. I think marriage equality is so important. Like you're saying, it just makes you feel human because without this marriage equality, it still is some amount of discrimination, right?
I think yes. I think everyone should have. Just being born as a human being, no, we should have all that legal rights, just like anyone else. Just because you are a gay or a lesbian or a transgender doesn't make you any different than a normal heterosexual couple, or So I think everyone should have that right. To get married to whoever they want, to live the life they want, to be with the man or the woman they want to be with, or be with the partner. So I think yes, I think Bhutan should try to look into it. I mean, I know we are already working on it, decriminalizing the same sexual activities on February 20 something, few years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, yeah, but I should look into it, especially also because I can personally talk from my own experience. Like, whenever I have to bring back my partners to Bhutan, I can only bring them after 1 year. And even that, I cannot, I have to say, like, they are my friends, and I can't be stating them as my husband. You know what I mean? And so I think just for that reason, I think just to just to be treated like any other human being, just to have that normal rights like everyone else. So I think yeah, but I should look into it, and I hope they look into it.
I mean, I hope they should be looking into it. Hope- um, but from everybody I've interviewed on Queer Talks, now we're in season 4. You're the only one who shared with me while we're having this conversation before recording, just a few days ago, how you were saying it wasn't a difficult journey for you. I want you to share like why it could happen that way. The experiences that you shared with me, if you could share it with our audience, La.
Yeah. So I had a very privileged background. I come from a very privileged background. My parents, although they were uneducated, they were quite open-minded. So I never had to, I never had that difficulties of expressing myself to anyone in that sense. But I also have to tell you, like I told you, I never came out to my mom and dad. Like officially, I never said, "Hey, look, I'm a gay man or a queer person." I did come out to my sister. She was fine with it. The first few days were a little difficult for her, I guess, like any other person, right? Because I'm the only son in the family. But after that, she understood that. And actually, last 2 years ago, I actually came out to my mom. You know, uh, apparently, you know how the aunties in the society can be. I guess somebody was telling my mom about, hey, did you know your son is married to a man or something like that, you know? So when I was back home on my vacation, I did actually bring out to my mom and I said, you know, look, I am in a relationship with a man. I married a man, but that doesn't make me any less. You know, I told her like, I am still the best son that you have. I'm still a good brother to my sisters. I'm still a good uncle to my niece and my nephew. And I would rather be faithful to myself and love who I want to love. You know, I could have married a woman. You know, I could have married a girl and acted like I was a straight guy. You know, but I told her it wasn't fair to the woman. You know, and also, sorry, I was just diverting. But
No?
like growing up, also I went to study in India. I was in a boarding in a hostel, so I never had any difficulties as such. I mean, I did have friends tease me, of course. Any part of kids growing up, we do have that issues, no, but not really a tough upbringing, to be very frank. Like I never faced much of a discrimination. I also think one reason would be I officially came out as like a gay man once I started working. So I think that also did help me because I was making my own money, and you know that makes a lot of difference, I guess, versus somebody who's in school and trying to identify themselves. They don't have the means to support themselves. So I guess in that way it was easier for me. So yeah, but I had a very easy upbringing. Like my parents were very open-minded. They had no problems with me playing with dolls or guns or cars or anything in that sense.
Let's go back to the conversation you had with your mother where 2 years ago. So when you said that, what was her reaction?
You know, my mother is in her 80s. No, she's uneducated. So the only reasoning I could tell her was, look, you yourself have three daughters. I have three sisters, elder sisters, by the way. So I told her, look, you yourself have three daughters. Just imagine if one of your daughter was married to a man who was a closeted homosexual, right, or a closeted person. I don't think it would have been fair to them, to my sisters, right, to your daughters. So that's one thing I told her, and I said at the end of the day, who I sleep with shouldn't really matter to anyone as long as I'm a good human being. So she was very open about it, and and I told her, things have changed from how it was back then. And also, like told you, Nachigi, their generation had never, we never had those words, gay, lesbians. More, not saying there wasn't people like that, but it wasn't really open up back then. So she did understand. She was like, yeah, it makes sense. It's not like I'm going to come to your bedroom and see who you're sleeping with or who you're mating with or things like that. And she said, as long as you're happy and the partner you are with makes you happy, that's all right, she said.
That's really
So
nice.
that's that.
This is a nice story. It's not like
Yeah.
tension, and usually you hear of so much like you're saying, because a lot of the people I speak to are very young also. They're not financially independent, so I think there's a lot of tension and trauma as a result of that. You were talking about how you were dating so many people, and when you talked about marrying women, etc., you actually were dating women until you were like 25, 26, right?
Yes, yes. Yes, I
Then how did
was.
you realize, okay, no, women are, I actually don't like women like that. I prefer men. So how did that like realization happen?
I think when I was around 25 or 26, that was when I first started dating men. I think around 24 or 25. And I had moved out of the country by then. And I guess my dad had talked to my sister about. I'm very close to my sister, by the way, like very, very close. We went to India. We studied in the same school. We stayed in the same boarding school. So I guess he told her to maybe talk to me about marriages and things like that. And that was the time. And I talked to my sister, and that's when she said, hey, look, by the way, I think you're getting older. If you want to think about marriages, dad was talking about it. And that was the first time I actually told my sister, I don't know if you know this or not, but I I am different. I like men. And I think that was when I realized, it's time I stopped trying to be not who I wasn't, sort of a thing. And face my own reality. So I think that was like maybe around 27. That's when I was like, oh, I gotta stop faking being a fake person, or trying to hurt women. Because yeah. So around 26, 27, that's when I realized. Once I talked to my sister, that's when I realized I should accept my truth, or yeah, something like
I
that.
like that. Accept my truth. Did you have people around you who you saw? I mean, not everybody was out and about like it is today, here in Bhutan. So at that age, I mean, by then you were already working abroad, by that age. But then, were there people you were looking at who you felt like, oh, comfortable? Okay, they also like me. I'm like them, so it's okay for me to accept me as who I am instead of being something else. So were there people like that in your life, or any role models?
Not really. Like I told you, I was working outside the country, so of course Bangkok is on my way back and forth to home or wherever I was working at more. So Bangkok did help me open up a little bit because I could see queer people be themselves, accept their own truth and things like that. But I don't really think I had anyone like a role model sort. I think I just was growing up, and I also think being financially independent really helped me. Once I started making my own money, that's when I was like, I don't have to depend on anyone. I can be myself now. So not exactly any kind of a role model, but also like I said, growing up in Bhutan, I never had anyone to look up to. I wish there was someone that I could look up to. Maybe it would have helped me understand myself better. But there was no one that I could look up to and be like, oh, maybe that's what I am, or this is who I am, sort of a thing. So not really per se a role model, but I just guess seeing the world a little bit more helped me understand myself better in that way.
That way is, I mean, the younger generation right now, the younger queer generation actually has people that they can look at and from a very young age be like, oh yeah, I'm like that, like you didn't have that referencing, you didn't have anything like that to reference when you were younger. Thanks for sharing all of that. What is it like living in the US, being gay openly, all of that, living with your partner?
Just a normal life, go to work, live, It's not. I really don't see it in that way because, like I told you, the place that I live in is it's a small island called Key West. We are the southernmost point of US, and it's a very LGBT friendly place. So this is all I know, like just being yourself, going out to watching drag races with friends. We have drag shows around here. We have younger gay guys dressing up in the like fanciest outfit you could think of. So it's very normal, I've never really thought of it in that way. It's like I just think of it as a very normal lifestyle, if I had to say. Also, when we travel out, we go to most of the time we go to places where it's LGBT friendly. So you really don't have. So I really don't have that comparison to say like, oh, it's a
Mm.
different lifestyle.
Mm.
Say
So you actually ensure
so.
that you are in a safe space, like when you're traveling or when you're living. So
True,
you
true. Yes,
ensure
yes.
that it's a safe space for you.
Yes. And also, any places that I have been to, or every places that I have lived during my working career, I've always lived in smaller islands. Uh, I think that makes me feel very safe. I also think subconsciously I chose to do that because smaller islands means lesser population. Lesser population means more freedom to do what you want to do without any judgment. So it's always been easier. Or yeah, I mean I haven't lived in a big towns or cities, so I really can't compare.
Finally, what is your message to everybody who's watching you?
You know, I think the world is changing so rapidly now, especially with all those technologies that have come out now, with all the apps, everything that's coming up now. I think one should learn how to question, ask more questions, learn from it, try to understand, and most importantly, stop bullying. I think you should love everyone, irrespective of who they are, what they are. Bullying can be Bullying, I think, is one of the worst thing that anyone can do or anyone can go undergo. So all I can say is love each other like, like you love yourself, or like your parents or your siblings. Spread more love, I guess, and learn. Learn, grow with the world. The world is changing very fast, so accept that and try to grow with it.
Thank you. That's an important message. Beautiful message too. Like the bullying aspect of it, especially for people who identify as queer in the queer community. Queer children are so vulnerable, and I think that's such a strong message. So to everybody watching, because not just queer people who watch Queer Talks, so there's like cis people who are watching
Exactly.
this too.
Exactly.
So yes, let's not bully people. Let people be wherever they want to be. Right? That's the least that we can do. Thank you so much for sharing that message, and thank you so much for giving us your time. I know like the US and Bhutan time reference and all of that, but I'm so glad we could make this happen. Um, I'm going to thank everybody who's watching Queer Talks. Queer Talks is brought to you by the Canada Embassy in Bhutan. Thank you so much for watching that.